Good morning, everyone. I just saw the rain stopped. So that means to welcome our session. And you made it, and I made it. It's just very important. And those people who are not supposed to come will not make it anyway. So this is very important. And to start with, I'd like to thank the following people to recognize them and recognize their contribution to the forum, Yushan Forum. First of all, the chairman of the Yushan, the Prospect Foundation, Dr. Chen Tangshan, and also Dr. Lai Yizhong over there, and the president of the Prospect Foundation, and he does all the dirty works. And that's why we look glory, but he does all the needy, greedy, but unseen contributions, very important. And his team, they are outside. Maybe we should bring them at the end of this Yushan Forum to thank their hard work. And the other one for this particular session, NGO, I would like to recognize the contribution, the cooperation of the Taiwan aid, especially the president, the chairman, Rebecca Wang over there. Because of her willingness to mobilize her federal association's membership to participate in this forum, and also the association's allies in New Southbound policy countries, so that we have a great distinguished panelists here to share their previous already made corporations. So New Southbound policy to NGO engagement is not born today. It was there already. They are growing up and they are maturing. So I would like to ask the Taiwan A Members Association, stand up and let's see your work, please. They are not just individuals, they are the collective efforts. And they have been in many countries in New Southbound policies, way ahead of the government initiative. So very important. So we are trying to examine the great contribution they have made. And we look forward to the many, many more and greater contributions in the years to come. So, and can I see Miss Li Lihua? Is Miss Li Lihua here? Oh, yes, yes. I particularly want to mention her name. Miss Li is the union worker, and she has done a great job to protect, to safeguard the human right of the fishing workers from Indonesia. So, yeah, you, Mr. Minister Rami, you will be very happy to see that. And she got recognized by the State Department of the United States to give her a recognition award. Do you have money? No. Too bad. Well, so we particularly invite her to join us. Great. Thank you for coming. 谢谢你来. And she working in Yilan. Okay. And one more thing I would like to say before we started this session is that Yushan Luntan has a 2 days event. The first day, yesterday, was the first sector, government and business. They talk about opportunities for partnership, economic partnership, technology, agriculture, medical, and so on and so forth. Today, we have a devoted whole day on the third sector. I don't see any other important international, national supported and private initiative to spend the whole day on the third sector. And that is the uniqueness of the Yushan Forum. It's not just government, it's not just business, but NGOs, think tank, and we focus on youth. Vice President Binay last night talked about how to nurture the young leaders, and we are doing exactly that. So this is a very important, and we hope we have a very, very successful, fruitful day to talk about how the third sector, NGOs, think tank, youth organization can help, can facilitate, can deepen Taiwan's government's policy on Southeast Asia. Okay, so we have a very distinguished panelist. I will make a very brief introduction. For your information, on page 62 of the booklet to 69, we have a very detailed description of the distinguished guests, distinguished panelists. And I will introduce them to you in a very brief way, in the order of the presentation. On my right is Dr. Nina Gao. She's here. Let's welcome her. She's the Executive Director, Taiwan Alliance for International Development. That's Taiwan Aid. And she will represent Taiwan Aid to speak how they have done. And if you haven't going down the first floor, please see, and they present a very good map of what Taiwan Aid had done. And I'm sure she will show us too. And the second speaker is on my left, Honorable Hideki Wakabayashi. And he is the Secretary General, Japan NGO Center for International Cooperation, Japan. And number three, yes, that's right. Mr. Let me correct me if I didn't pronounce your name correctly. Bhupendra Ghimire. That's correct. Yes, correct. That's what I wanted to say. That's easier. Which one? Bhupi, that's easy. Yes, okay, Bhupi. Founder and chairman, Volunteers Initiative Nepal. And this is your national costume. Great, look good. Good, thank you. And on my left again, Mrs. Vimala Britto. She's a founder, Sikh Foundation, India. The detail she will share with you. And number five, Dr. Niven Huang, and I have known him for a long time when he's involved with the sustainable development business, or business for sustainable development. Now he's the general manager, KPMG Sustainability Consulting Company Limited, Taiwan. And he will share with you how the private sector, the second sector, to work on the sustainable development. Thank you for coming. And number six, I'm right again, right, left, we are balanced, you know. Mr. Marcos Lovakovic, right? Correct, Managing Co-Director, VUFO NGO Resource Center in Vietnam. And apparently he is not Vietnamese, but he worked in Vietnam and for Vietnam. That's important. Welcome. Number seven, we have a friend from Myanmar, Dr. Thap Uk, right? I met him yesterday, so I asked him how to pronounce your name correctly. Na is Uk, okay. It's a founder and managing director, Eden Center for Disabled Children in Myanmar. And as you all know, especially local friends, Eden Foundation, we have one Eden Foundation here. Their Eden Center has a very close relationship with Taiwan's Eden Foundation, and they have a joint effort together. And this is a vivid case of partnership. Last one, but not the least, Mr. Hsiao over there. He's another case in point. He's a private entrepreneur, but he turned into a philanthropist and tried to work with NGO and sponsor NGO. And he's a director, Zhen Yong Memorial Foundation in Taiwan. but he worked very hard in Vietnam. So, and later Mr. Xian was speaking in Mandarin Chinese, and we have a translation for you at your service. Okay, I think I used up all the time given to me as a moderator, so we will invite our speaker in that order, and everyone, please limit your time to 10 minutes for the first one, 10 minutes, and we hope we have more time for open floor discussion. So, Dr. Gao, your first time. Let's welcome you.
Thank you, Chairman, Dr. Hsiao. Distinguished guests from the overseas, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm Nina. I'm representative of the Taiwan Act to present that with Taiwan best NGOs to do the overseas work and what we expect that the government can help, or government policy, how to reform to help the NGOs. Actually, the NGOs in Taiwan, we conduct the international works. Most of are in the new southbound country. I will show you later. And I would like to also use this opportunity to thank the Prospect Foundation give us this opportunity to co-host this session with Taiwan Ads and to give us the opportunity to listen the voice from NGO. Okay. So the Taiwan Ads actually is the first NGO platform, and we almost spent 10 years to incubate. Then in 2013, we formally registered as an association. Between the almost 10 years, actually, those of NGOs, we have regular meeting, but not so formally. But after many years later, then we think that we have to do more of strength things, or we have to work together more closely, then we can do more of international development project together. So that's why in 2013, we formally registered as a Taiwan International in Taiwan and International in Developing, that's the Taiwan Act. What is our members? And so far, we have almost 30 members. Most of the members are based in Taiwan, but we conduct international projects, including the health, education, gender, or the humanitarian assistance, voluntary service, green energy, and so on. What's our vision? So we are the NGO platform, so of course that our core value is also the people-centered. That is the same with the new southbound policy. And we try to strengthen the NGO's transparency, accountability, efficiency, and cooperation. And we try our best to mobilize the resources to conduct international humanitarian work and promote equity, justice, and sustainable development. And where is our project? You can find the map. That's interesting is most are in new southbound countries. That means if the government's talking about new southbound policy, you cannot forget NGOs' contribution. And in the future, I hope that governments can put more of resources in NGOs, because NGOs actually, I think we have more than 200 projects in lots of the countries. The power of NGOs, we cannot neglect it. And what kind of project category? Then you can find that most of the projects are maybe in the social sectors and humanitarian works. In social sectors, projects including education, health, water supply, sanitation, and government CSOs and capacity buildings. This slide is very interesting. You can see where is the funding from. And you can find the NGOs funding, more than 50% is from individual donation. And from the government, only 12%. From the private sectors, about 13%. So you will see the government actually not put so many resources on NGOs when NGOs, they conduct their projects overseas, and most are in New Southbound countries. And I tried to search out some data of the ODA in Taiwan, and this is the data in 2016. Actually, Taiwan's ODA only 3 billion. That's represented only 0.06% of the GNI, and this is far beyond of the UN expect 0.7%. You can see the Japan and Korean, their ODA much higher than Taiwan. And yesterday, I'm very happy to hear that Honorable Dr. Deng, his PowerPoint is from Trade Office. He said the government will plans to allocate US $250 billion to New Southbound related project, and I hope part of the budget can be through the NGO to do the project. That's the first one. The second one is, they also mentioned that the ODA will have 3 billion to support the Taiwan construction industry. Taiwan construction industry, but not for the NGOs. So even the Taiwan government would increase the ODA, but I hope that part of the funding can through the NGOs to do more project. And so what we expect government funding allocated, this is the data is from the survey that will be funded by the MOFA to give us the funding to do the survey of the NGOs. So you can see there about the NGOs, we hope that government funding could be allocated in humanitarian aid, international development, and engaging international organization, establish international branches. That is all our expectation. And how we join international NGO-Private? Taiwan Aid is a Taiwan NGO platform, but we can through Taiwan Aid to join the Asian platform and even a global platform. Like in the Asia platform, that we can join the CPD cooperation, CSO partnership in development and effectiveness, ADA, that's Asia Development Alliance. And through the Asia platform, we also join the GPDC, that's the global platform. So we can join that, just like the high-level meeting in Mexico in 2014, and second high-level meeting in Nairobi in 2016. I think that is a very good way for Taiwan to participate in international development work, because Taiwan, actually, their international status is quite difficult. So if we use the governments or if we use official way, sometimes it's quite difficult. But if we through the NGOs, that's quite easy for us to join the international platform. Okay, so let me talking about the New South policy. You can see this also put people in the center. And there are 4 major parts, including the economic and trade cooperation, people exchange and interaction, resource mobilization and sharing. And the other one is regional connection. So from the regional connection, that if we know that how to strategic alliance with the different sectors and inclusive partnership with the different sectors, then we can share and we can mobilize the different resources like technology, funding, human resources, and knowledge, then we can work together. I give you some of the example. This is an example that in Nepal after earthquake, the Taiwan Act work with the MOFA, the big MOFA, Small Taiwan Act. So we use their funding then to do the project, the identification. Then we work with the Nepal private sector. Actually, this is a tracking company, but under this tracking company, they have another NGOs we call the Eco Protection Forum. This is the NGOs we work together. Then we do an earthquake reconstruction project in Darding area, including the medical service, medical staff training, and medical health post reconstruction, CDC community centers. And also the second stage is ecotourism project. And now we also have another project with our Nepal friends. Then I think he was to share with this later on. The other the example is we're working with India. But then Vimala will show you more detail. And this is the example is quite interesting. Is we also working with the MOFA, and actually this is in the Qinghai Culture and Trade Office. Through their help that we can link with the Indian private sectors and Taiwan private sectors. They have branch in India. So we work together to do more of the work in India, including the medical service and the other works. Then we had worked together to fulfill the social responsibility. And because I'm working, even I'm the director of the Taiwan Ed, but my the other work that I'm working at the hospital. They give me the salary, but I do the voluntary work in Taiwan Ed. And in hospital size, of course, we can provide the medical service, but we also can provide the different trainings and professional trainings and the smart hospital construction consultation, hospital management, international accreditation consultation. And this is the hospital we can do. So we also can link the Taiwan, the private sector and Taiwan industry, like the medical industry, ICT, pharmacy company, to work together in India. This is a kind of the linkage to link the Taiwan private sectors with NGOs, with government. All the partnership together, then we do the project. So you can see this is a picture. Then we work with the SIG Foundation and the other foundation we call it Beyond Foundation. This is a Taiwan business company in India. So we work together. The example is in Vietnam. We are also working with the Vietnam, one of the Taiwan company. One Taiwan company, then we work together and also link with the Vietnam Medical University to do the work in Vietnam. They tell me this time is up.
Well, speed up.
Okay. So this is a Taiwan company called the Sinica Group. They have their hospital in Vietnam. So we provide the consultation from the hospital design and construction, and also the training. The most important slide is the two slide. This is we would like to give some of the recommendation for the government when they think about the new southbound policy. First one, of course, increase ODA. But we hope that ODA not only increasing, that ODA can allocate some of the part of the resources to the NGO. Through the NGO, we can do more work. And the other one is very important. We hope that the ODA will be very transparency. And the ODA, all the ODS will through the projectize. Okay. The second one, we hope that the International Cooperation Act can be reformed, because now we even have this act, but the act they have some of the items. They say that all the funding has to through the ICDF, the International Cooperation Development Fund. This is an NGO under the MOFA. This is their priority. But I think in Taiwan we have a lot of NGOs, not only through the ICDF, the ODA, the fund also can through the NGOs. The third, we hope that can create an Asian emergency, the humanitarian assistance platform, because climate changes. So you can see, particularly in the new southbound countries, we have many of the disasters like earthquake, typhoon, and the other earthquake tsunami. So we hope that from Taiwan we can have that platform. Then when the emergency or the disaster coming, then we can have our effort in this of the disaster relief. And next is because the youth is very important. So we hope that we can encourage more of young people, young leaders, and young professionals to join the international work. And I know that this afternoon we have another session to talking about the young leaders. And this is also one of our advocacy, that we hope that there was a systematic mechanism, how we work with the Ministry of the Education, how we encourage a list of young guys when they do their work and then when they get back, any of the incentive for them. And the other one is, of course, the social responsibility, particularly for the overseas investment companies. And we hope that they can do their social responsibility in their investment countries. And the government can have any of the incentive to encourage those of company when they do the investment in those of countries, they have to do the social responsibility. The last one is very important, that government and NGO, we have to build up trusty, and we have to trust each other, and we have to regularly systematic dialogue each other. Then we will know each other, because NGO, I think they are not want to just only to want to get money from the government. Actually, we would like to cooperate with the government because we all love Taiwan. So we would like to work together. And if you think the SDG, the core value is leaving no one behind, I hope that government also no leaving NGO behind. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Even though the time is go overboard, but I'm lenient, you know why? Because this is Taiwan Aid.
Thank you.
So I will try to be more strict, to be unfair to the rest.
Thank you.
The 6 recommendations are very important. I think we will keep your PowerPoint and for further elaborations. And actually, President Tsai, I think, mentioned in the Double 10 speech, mentioned ODA. So it's the Taiwan version of ODA. So we were feeling more substance. For example, increase the money. So this is a very too little, 0.3 billion. So I'm not going to speak for the government. I don't know, 50%, 30%, double, I don't know. Well, let the government to figure out. Okay, let's welcome Honorable Wakabayashi. That's your turn.
Chairman, thank you very much for your introduction. I will try to keep my presentation within 10 minutes.
Thank you.
That's fair.
Thank you.
Okay, today I'd like to talk about enhancing partnership between NGO business in achieving SDGs. Yes. I was very much surprised that almost nobody talked about the SDGs yesterday. And SDGs could be a very powerful regional cooperative framework in the region. It's very harmonized with new southbound policy. So I'd like to talk about a little bit SDGs. How many of you have heard SDGs on the floor? Please raise your hand. Wow, that many. So that's why I was very much surprised. Nobody talked about SDGs. So I'm from the JANIC. JANIC is an umbrella organization. We have like 110 NGOs for international cooperation and 70, including NGOs, and the business members, 41 companies. So which is the biggest network NGOs in Japan. And one of the roles we are focusing on is encourage dialogue between NGOs and other sectors, such as government and business. And our vision is realizing peaceful and fair society. So towards 2030, we try to make a contribution to achieving SDGs, and especially Goal 16. Goal 16 is a very much important goal. It's kind of cross-cutting rules and system to protect freedom, try to make a government more transparent, okay, that's the rule that we are focusing on. And Sustainable Development Goals, it's SDGs kind of acronym of the Sustainable Development Goals, which was approved in...
Excuse me, you can operate yourself.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. Thank you. Okay. Approved in 2015 UN National Assembly. And we have 17 goals. And especially I'm really focusing on goal 17, partnership for the goals. And no poverty, goal 1, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, but at the same time, industry, innovation, infrastructures, reducing inequality, responsible consumption, production, climate change, and almost all social, environmental, economic issues are included. So that's why I'm focusing on the SDGs, which is very good for this initiative. Okay. All right. And especially Goal 17, Global Partnership for Sustainable Development, 17.7 says encourage and promote effective public-private and civil society partnerships building on the experience and resourcing strategies of partnership. So we think that SDGs cannot be achieved only by NGOs, of course. And at the same time, Japanese NGO think that, realize that important role of business sectors to achieve SDGs. So SDGs is, you have to work on the domestic issue, at the same time working on the foreign issues in abroad. So I think, for example, a Japanese company could work with NGOs in Taiwan. It's kind of no boundary between the domestic and foreign issues. So I think it's kind of a game changer for cooperation in the world. That's my point. And this is a survey of the Japanese company, more than 1,000 big companies. One of the agency have conducted the survey. And in June, it's very new, and more than 1,000 companies have been conducted. And already 30 point... Sorry,
you want me to help you?
I'm looking at my presentation. I forgot to change. Okay, 30% has been already incorporating SDGs into management already, and 10% will incorporate SDGs in the near futures. So already 40% Japanese companies have been working on SDGs already as a core business. Try to tackle the social issues, which could be a business chance for cooperation. That's why SDGs are very important, even for the company. And 31.7, considering the possibility of incorporation, which means that about 70% of corporation might work on the SDGs in their core business towards 2030. And then in which NGOs could work on with cooperation. And working in partnership should not be the purpose. It should be means of achieving the purpose. So working in partnership doesn't mean anything. Working in partnership means that achieving the purpose. Then at the same time, we have to keep our independent position in which we could criticize private sectors when necessary. We are NGO, civil society organization. We have to play a role, kind of watchdog at the same time. But at the same time, we have to, cooperate with the, private sectors at the same time. This is very important. And within JANIC, we are trying to promote NGO business cooperation, holding SDGs. Again, I'm sorry that I forgot. All right. Holding SDG seminars and training mainly for NGO and civil society. And the number 2, NGO Business Cooperative Network within JANIC. We have about 25 members and NGO members 30, holding a regular dialogue for members between NGO and business, identify issues possible to address and cooperate within NGO and business. And also, number 3, UN Global Compact Network Japan. I'm a board member of Global Compact Network Japan from the civil society organization. And have you heard the Global Compact? Yes, it's the world's biggest corporate sustainability initiative. And I'm a board member. So I'm trying to bring the NGOs into the Global Compact so that they can meet cooperation in the Global Compact, then they could work together. So this has been very workable, and I think it's been successful. I think those 3 is one of the tools that we've been working on. So conclusion, SDG is a kind of common goals, values to be shared by all the stakeholders. Oh, sorry, too far. Yes, including NGO and business sectors. And role of business sector in order to achieve SDGs become bigger and bigger. And SDGs could be a key driver to accelerate a partnership between NGOs and business sectors. And for business sectors, NGO could be a navigator to guide SDGs and a partner to solve the social issues to achieve SDGs. So again, I would like to stress that the SDGs could play a very important role to facilitate the regional cooperation and strengthen the relationship between the NGO and private sectors. Think, why not use? Please don't miss this kind of opportunity to use SDGs. Thank you very much.
10 minutes? Great job done. You are done in 10 minutes.
Okay, good.
Wait. And follow, huh? Everyone. Follow. This is a good example. We should do that. And then we have leave times for floor discussion. I think Japanese experience can be learned from Taiwan to go through the Southbound policy, new Southbound policy on the NGO and business partnership. But I think here important from Wakabayashi-san's speech is that NGO should be considered as a navigator. I think the navigator, to navigate the business orientation to the non-profit activities. So I think who is the leading force? I think who gave the idea, who inspired NGO? But we certainly appreciate business. But business, because you have other things to do, make money and fulfill social responsibility. But we will guide the business to do more than that. That's very important. Now let's turn to Nepal's cook story from Bhutan. Bhupi, yes.
Thank you, Michael. Again? Oh, sorry. Namaste, everyone. Hope you are not too bored. Maybe can you maybe present the PowerPoint one? Sorry, I mean PDF, not the PowerPoint. Because this one has some, how do we say? I've done some stupid thing there. Okay, while being shown the PDF, I want to introduce a little bit about Nepal. I know everybody is maybe already aware about it. It's a mid-sized country, a beautiful country with 28 million population. And for 28 million population, there are huge number of civil society organizations working in Nepal. Can you make a guess how many? If in your country, how many for 28 million population? How many NGO, I mean civil society organization, could it be? No, I mean in any country, like for that number of population. In Nepal, it's really very big. It's about 70,000 civil society organizations registered for 28 million population. And for Social Welfare Council is the one who monitors NGO work. And they have data, 46,000 NGOs have affiliation there. Why so many organizations? That's something I want to present, and what we have been working with, Taiwan, Taiwanese people, and in Nepal too. I hope 10 minutes is well enough for me. Maybe you can do. Okay. So there are, some challenges in Nepal at the moment. Some of you are already aware about. The first issue is poverty. You can see from the data, 25% population is below poverty line. Also, we are at risk of, climate change. It's a big impact in Himalaya country. Lack of education. Also, maybe you can imagine our first university was just 57 years back. And from there, you can understand how well, education Nepali people might have received. So many still people are illiterate. There is a huge disparity between male and female literacy rate. Many teachers are still not trained or under-trained. Another big issue for many organizations to get involved in Nepal are health, hygiene, and sanitation. Imagine, in this era, a family does not have toilet. Many families still do not have toilet. That's the area for sanitation for us. Many NGOs are working. Another huge challenge we are facing is gender and social discrimination. It's the issue maybe in many places in South Asia, not only in Nepal. We have huge, and we are working on it. By law, it's a punishable offense. Nobody can discriminate, but you can see in practice still. And caste is still a big issue. That's why also, in society, we are working in awareness and education. The major issue we have is political instability. Like in other countries in the world, we had a big and long, about 10-year conflict. And in 2015, we declared our new constitution. So it guarantees minority rights and many other things, but we have to implement it and we have to practice it. It will take some time. So we have started through the local election, we have started doing that. Another challenge we have, and there are many organizations working for this one, is natural disaster. You might be aware the earthquake, the massive earthquake in 2015, which killed over 9,500 population. Over 1 million families still do not have homes. Over 7,000 schools were destroyed. Even not 10% of the reconstruction work done. And if done, it's the NGO sector, but there are always blame from both sides. Government says NGO is not working enough, and NGOs are saying government is not giving enough direction. So it's again about the partnership, so how it works. We have other challenge, like out of 28 million, 5 million young people between 18 to 40 are abroad, especially in Gulf countries, because there are no, job opportunities in the country. So we are the country at the moment, running through the remittance. Our GDP, anybody knows? Nepal GDP? Very tiny, just $24 billion. You can imagine how 28 million people living with $24 billion GDP. So it's very tiny economy. But out of that, 20 to 25% is from remittance, our young people earning from, abroad. So at the moment, we are also suffering from this sort of brain drain, a huge problem. That's something NGO sector is working through small entrepreneurship development and everything. I want to take opportunity to just introduce ourselves now. What as an organization, VIN, Volunteers in State Nepal, doing. This is our vision. I don't want to explain too much. You guys have been working a lot, and you know what vision an organization can have. That's what that far we could see. We are trying to bridge gap between, you know, the organization who are working directly with the aid sector and volunteering sector. So we try to do both. We are an organization implementing integrated community development. These are the values you can see from the slides. We focus for mostly women and children. This one, you can see we call VIN House. So we are working for marginalized communities. Who these are marginalized communities? We have defined, I mean, for every country, it's a relative term, and you can see that way. So in Nepal, we have defined those areas, and that's where VIN works. We believe it's only possible through integrated or, you know, holistic community development approach. That's what we do through education, health and environment, economy, and basic infrastructure. As a foundation, we have 6 major programs, like women's empowerment, youth empowerment, children's development, public health and medical care, environment conservation, disaster response and relief. We try to tie our goals with the Sustainable Development Goal, which our former speaker already mentioned about. Where VIN works, there are 3 locations we've been working, close to Everest area, in Kathmandu itself, the suburb, outskirts of Kathmandu, and Nuakot, which is north-west of Kathmandu. So it's a big area of work. We do implement over 50 projects, and we actually do a lot of work through volunteers, local and international volunteers. Over 600 local and international volunteers work with us every year. Out of 600, like 20% of the share is from Taiwan. So a lot of Taiwanese volunteers come and volunteer with us for our different projects, which I'm going to present as well. Thank you. We started cooperation with a Taiwanese organization called Vision Youth Action. I want Klaus to say hi to everyone. That's when we started actually working with Taiwanese volunteers from 2013. And there are a lot of volunteers since then. We are working with Taiwanese. So what work? We have bilateral camps and multilateral camps. What kind of, I mean, if you talk about number already in past 4 years, we have over 231 volunteers working, have already worked with our different development and humanitarian projects. So there are a lot of different types of projects like teaching, sports, health and hygiene, teaching arts, music, dance, conduct, like summer and winter camp for children, cultural exchange, and many other activities. They also do a lot of creative activities for school children and for community people. A lot of artwork, because they can express their culture and many other things through this. Thanks to BYA and Taiwanese young people, they have actively been helping us for reconstruction project. Vin has been heavily working for this field, like constructing individual homes, schools, public properties. That's what we've been playing an important role in the area. So the volunteers go and work in this field. You can see through the pictures. Maybe I don't have to explain. So there are like a lot of things they have been working for. The schools, like the renovation work. What is next? We have, I mean, once again, I have to thank for Taiwan Aid and our partner organization, VYA. Thanks, Klaus, for making it possible. I feel so honored to come here to take part in this forum. And also, they have now decided that Vin will receive a fund to construct a community learning center where Vin works. There is no any conference places, no place where we can train community people to empower them. So this is our idea. It's all-in-one center that the community, at least for 15,000 population, this center gonna serve. So we say community learning center. And thanks to Taiwan Aid for funding this center. We're gonna, start very soon. And thanks to the Taiwanese people. We are already in the progress. Just to show where, is the building already there or this one? But sorry. We have done a little bit of work, but we're gonna start for full construction and we'll finish complete within 1 year. No more now. If you have any question, Buddha never asks question, I know.
When Buddha asks, we cannot answer. We just say yes. Amitofo. Okay, are you done?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Next time, when you're a Christian, you say, any question with the God? And then we say no. No, so you have to say yes. No. Okay, thank you very much. The key concept is empowering. I think it's very important. Empowerment. I think your logo of your organization is called Empowering Marginalized Communities. And then Taiwan is giving, extending hands with you. It's very, here I'd like to mention the work closely, except in addition to Taiwan Aid, also the Vision Youth Action, Mr. Ding, yeah, over there. He's helping there. Even small step, but significant. I have one question about the building. With Taiwan Aid help, it's very good. But this building is any Nepalese style community center?
We have mixed both.
Oh, you
Nepali
have. You have a motif.
Like a little bit of modern, little bit of modern and Nepali style both.
Oh, okay.
But it will be an eco building, so we had to adjust both style.
Whose idea? Yours or Taiwanese idea?
Our idea.
Good.
Everything is local
I mean,
idea.
you have your own
we are a local
idea.
organization. We work with the partner around the globe, but we are local, organization, and we only accept, partnership if the partners accept local reality.
Yes, very good. Thank you very much. And you also keeping on time. Okay, now let's move to number 4, Mrs. Britto. Yes, welcome.
Anevarukkum vanakkam. That means greetings to all. And thank you very much for being a part for this forum. I'm from a business background, but I've not come from a business background, but we started a business 25 years with an investment of $500 with 3 employees. Now we have more than 10,000 employees all over in India, as well as Southeast Asia and UAE. And mainly in my Sikh foundation, women empowerment and child development and youth development. Why I insist women empowerment means the woman is for everything. The woman is bringing up a boy and a girl from the home and given to the society. So how a woman thinks, how the woman wants a society, it starts from the home and it goes on and on. And I had a relationship with the Taiwan government past 2 years, And we started working on many projects. And I have to thank this moment Charles Lee, the Consulate General of Chennai, because we met him during the Singapore National Celebration Day, and we had a chat. Then we started working towards how we can have a cooperation with Taiwan and India. And we have a MOU with the Tsinghua Hospital, and we started working with the past 2 years, helping downtrodden poor. And last time we have did only in Chennai. This year, we have done almost 5 cities and work with almost 850 poor people. And these are all the things that we are developing. And we are sending through SEEK to attend all these conferences. And I'm also doing it in Chennai, that accumulating all the conference, who are all attending the conference and spreading the matters to the youth and downtrodden people. And we have started the Mandarin Chinese in our school. And we are doing, and we have generated the internship program for Taiwanese youth and school children. And we have been talking to the Taiwanese school, how we can incorporate this school system to promote more relationship between India and Taiwan. And this is our sports entity. It's a five-a-side football. Why I'm showing all these things, we incorporate as a system, as a, well, how he said that, SDG. SDG is very, very important because previously the population of entire world is not this much. So the NGO can help in a little way with the help of some people together. But now the population is increased and lot of expectation, lot of need by every country. Every people is, it's improving a lot, and the expectation and the monetary help is very, very important to develop anything. And that's what I've created, that a sustainable project. So we have planned as a 5-year plan for any project, because I don't want it to be do as a starting then leaving in between. So we wanted to make a plan as a 5-year plan, that how to be sustainable and how they can make their own income. No, we are teaching them and we are making them to promote and create and make money through their project, and they wanted to develop to neighboring village. So I couple into a 5 village into one system and making them to learn. And I do a strategic plan also, because each and every village have a valuable system and affordable thing to do. Some village, they know something to do. As example, in India, the village, some they know to make pottery, some they make a paver block. So we make as a system that we find that the village is capable of doing what. So we found that, okay, this village is capable of doing something. It's kind of a pottery, it's kind of making jewelry. So we found the system and we make them to learn, and we provide how to do, and we make them to plan, do, yearn through it, and make their own sustainability. And we, if some village, they are able to stitch, and we provide a tailoring machine, and we connect with them with the export people. So they can do, and they can connect with the export people so they can make money. So because I believe that giving is very important, social responsibility is also very important, but we must make them also to know how to be sustained and how to make their own lives, living with their own earnings. That is very, very important, I believe. So otherwise, it is very difficult as an NGO, maybe it's a non-governmental organization, but the non-governmental organization, it's not making money, but we can make people to understand how to earn money for their own livelihood. This is what I believe. I think you people will accept. And why I've started this, and because I'm running a school for 20 years, and I'm moving with the young children that is age up to from 3 years till 28 years. So what happens that I've started understanding to promote from the youth and from the childhood. So they should learn how to be as a responsible person for the society. That is very important. So we made it into a 3 sector. So one is intellectual, and one is the cultural, and one is the sport. So everyone is different, and everyone is unique. So we need to find out the strength of individual and the weakness of individual, and tapping their strength and making them to do for themselves, for others, it also matters a lot. So this is how we work, and the same system. The children from the school of mine, because I have 4,000 children studying in my school, and I've been connected with 85 schools in and around in Chennai. So this is how that I make, and I involve the children from the age of 10. And we make them to work along with. And thank you very much.
I do not want to push you. But this is another very successful case at how a profit organization, because for your information, Britto family own a very successful logistics business, right? As I was told. Yeah. And how this company profit turned into non-profit. And I just quote Wakabayashi-san's talk. Business can make NGO initiative, I changed for SDG, and bigger. But then NGO can make a business to get into the non-profit, but the non-profit, the profit can make a non-profit bigger. So, right? So keep doing it and make it bigger and bigger. And I also noticed that you work with the Zhanghua Hospital with Nina. So extend the cooperation between India and Taiwan. It's excellent. Okay, now let's turn to Niven, please. You have 10 minutes. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my honor to be here to share some of the perspectives based on my past 20 years experience. First of all, I think I would like to give you some of the idea why I might be the possible reason here today to share my perspective. During 1997 and 2013, I was the former Secretary General of the Business Council for Sustainable Development based in Taipei. And this organization, BCSD Taiwan, is a part of the World Business Council for Sustainable Development based in Geneva. And in most of the Asian countries, we do have BCSD as a business nonprofit organization in Asia for promoting sustainable development. And during 2012 to 2015, I was the chairman of the advisory board of Association of Sustainable and Responsible Investment in Asia. And this organization is based in Hong Kong, the major purpose is to promote responsible and sustainable investment in Asia, including impact investment. Impact investment is to encourage the financial institution to provide the financial support for a lot of projects that is especially focused on a social and environmental purpose. And after 2012, I sit in the judge panel of the award of responsible enterprise in Asia. So I have already reviewed a lot of Asian businesses, the CSR program in Asia, including a lot of partnership with NGO in this part of the world. The previous discussion has already mentioned sustainable development goals. It is very important if we want to explore any potential and long-term sustainable partnership between private sector and NGO. I strongly recommend that we need to very seriously think about what will be the landscape after this kind of partnership for providing, no matter that is the official development aid or the foreign direct investments efforts via the business investment in Asian countries. So here, this slide has already shown that the most pressing challenges we need to take it very seriously from now on. In the following years, Asia will become the most important, the global commodity products manufacturing sites. And the majority of the global population will be also based in Asia. Now we are living in a smaller and smaller world. That means you affect me, I affect you. So business has become very important driving force for making the society towards sustainable development. So everybody needs money. Everybody needs to be empowered to be enabled. So it's very important that we look at the pressing challenges from now on, that the ecosystem, climate change, poverty, then a lot of important pressing challenges based on 2017's World Economic Forum Global Risks. You can see that within the top 5 global risks, no matter that is based on the happening livelihood or impact magnitude, that the environmental, resource, and social issue will become the top material important issue that we need to work together to address. So recent opportunities are always one ball, two sides. So we need to look at what will be the landscape of Asian development after 2020. So from now on, it's just only 3 years later. Sustainable development focus on the global development by 2030. So that will be the next 13 years. So if you want to motivate or mobilize, encourage the better partnership between NGO and private sector for achieving something in Asia, then we need to put this landscape, step by step, and the time frame is very important, but because that will facilitate us to think about together, to draft, to plan a much more practical, achievable, with very important KPI to measure what kind of impact based on this kind of a partnership. So the poverty, including a lot of issues from economic to the water, resource, mobility, and so on. So here is also highlight some of the mega trends in the global future a couple years later, and the majority is going to happen in Asia. So this slide shows the horizontal axis means the Human Development Index. From the left side is the worst situation. The living quality is very bad. No health, no education, and the lifetime is very short. And to the right side, that means a very high quality. And the vertical axis is everybody's consumption, how much area that everybody's consumption will occupy, the square meter or square feet on this planet. So that means the higher square meter, the area we occupy based on our consumption, that means it's a very wasteful lifestyle. So the rich people, industrialized people, we are living in a very wasteful situation. But the lower income community, especially in most of the Asian countries, a lot of people, they need to raise their basic need. So they need to increase their consumption. That means a lot of market, a lot of potential opportunity for the business to do the business with the low income people. So we need to make the smarter consumption for the richer people. We also need to achieve the smarter consumption for the poor people. Then everybody can achieve the same living quality, but the same lower impact to the ecosystem. Again, I would like to emphasize the Sustainable Development Goals that have been addressed very significantly by Taiwanese business and government. I was told that yesterday it's not the key issue, but based on the comment by Mr. Wakabayashi, this is a very important issue for if we want to take it very serious for our southbound policy, then this should be included our strategic agenda. So here, including the social, environmental, economic, infrastructure, and governance, the last two is Taiwan business people right now become the major foreign direct investment in Asia. But the peaceful society is very important for us to do the business because the business cannot succeed in a society that fails. So we need to dedicate ourselves to make these 15 goals achievable based on two key elements. The first one is 16 goals to maintain a sustainable, peaceful, justice society. And the last one is the partnership. So here, if we put the time frame much longer, up to 2050, the global population conservatively will reach a significant number, 9.2 billion. 9.2 billion will live well. Honestly speaking, we need 2.3 planets to provide us enough resources for feeding everyone. So this is a very important issue. So partnership between NGO and business, we need to develop a very structurized and constructive dialogue between these two parties. And we also need to develop a good innovative social program that can be achievable based on 2020 megatrend, 2030 megatrend, and 2050 megatrend. Remember, we're living in a smaller and smaller world. NGO always need money, and business sector, we need a very good, successful, creative, innovative social program. So both sides can develop a very good constructive partnership. If we do have a common goals, we talk about the same business language, no matter that is for the society, for education, and for a lot of disabled, disadvantaged people. The last comment is we also need to work together to measure the impact. It's very important, not just only donation. We need to measure the impact based on the long term up to 2020, 2030, 2050. If we can make that done, and the social program, social community investment still can achieve in a very high efficient return. So eventually, we would like to take a look very seriously at the so-called social return on investment. So this will be the future very important goal for the private sector and NGO to work together and to make that done. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. This is the second time the SDG is mentioned. SDG is launched by UN, even though Taiwan is not a member of the UN, but we are very loyal to the goal for humankind, because after all, Taiwan is a global citizen, and regardless we are not a member of the UN or not, but we are part of this global destiny, and that's why it's very important to pinpoint. And also, secondly, from Niven's talk, I think the future new southbound policy, I think, can bring in the new frontier of environment, ecology, sustainability, and climate change. How to go about it, and whether or not Taiwan can find a partner organization in Southeast Asia and South Asia, and that is something, the task we have to face. Thank you very much. Now let's turn to Marco, please.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you're not too hungry, and there is only 3 of us left. I hope you will find the energy to stay awake and listen to us. We've come a long way to share. I was invited to Yushan Forum to represent foreign NGOs in Vietnam. I became NGO worker by accident. A war happened in my home country, Croatia, more than 20 years ago, and I've decided to change career and join my first NGO. I spent the next 8 years doing humanitarian work in my country and neighboring countries. Then I moved to Kosovo after the conflict, where I spent 6 years building the country, rebuilding the society. And in total, I've worked for 4 global big NGOs in 7 countries before I came to Vietnam. I spent 10 years, almost 10 years in Vietnam, and it was a new stage in my NGO career. I'm leading a big community of foreign NGOs there in development of the country. But this is not what I'm going to talk about today, because I would need at least 2 hours to tell you all about 487 NGOs that are registered in Vietnam. I was asked to speak about partnership that we build with private sector, with other development partners, and with Vietnamese government. And more importantly, the role that those partnerships played in Vietnam's success. So, in my humble opinion, the key to Vietnam's success story was revealed yesterday by Dr. Noor Aslan Ghazali from Malaysia. I think that Vietnamese do not play by the rules, and I think that Vietnamese do not plan ahead. They are a very energized nation, driving by desire to succeed and eager to work, most of them doing 3 jobs on a daily basis. However, I have to set the stage for what I'm going to work and tell you very quickly about our center and about NGOs. The role of NGO Resource Center is to serve community of foreign NGOs. We are also umbrella organization, and very importantly, we work in partnership with Vietnamese Union of Friendship Organizations, which is Vietnamese government socio-political organization in charge of NGOs. Our role, however, evolved in more than 20 years that we exist. So we no longer serve only NGOs, we also provide information and resources to development agencies, to the government, and to Vietnamese partners, to Vietnamese NGOs. From very early on, we had a very strong relationship with the private sector. How do we serve these people? How do we help them? we have a library, we have a website, we organize meetings of so-called working groups, and there are 14 of them, 12 active at the moment. But again, that will take too long, so I will only speak about one particular that is called Corporate Engagement Working Group. Except my PowerPoint got all distorted, so the frame is in the wrong place. So Corporate Engagement Working Group, it is one of the youngest networks that we helped establish. We engage participants who are both NGOs and private businesses in joint projects. We sit at the big table with the decision makers and influence policy dialogues and policy changes. And we basically shape Vietnamese future together. We contribute to shaping Vietnamese future political landscape together. We exchange knowledge and know-how both from our NGO experience from other countries and both from business sector experience from other countries and try to apply to Vietnam's environment. Challenges. They are similar in Vietnam to both NGOs and the private sector. There are either too many laws, it's over-regulated, or there are conflicting laws, or there are no laws at all for some aspects of our work. Differences between business practices in other countries and in Vietnam, differences in NGO activities in other countries and in Vietnam. Differences in cultures from countries that we come from, and differences with Vietnamese culture. So we try to find the best ways and to balance all this and implement it in Vietnam in a way that is suitable. One of the very important issues is lack of regulations for two things, which is fundraising inside Vietnam, which the government doesn't allow, and social entrepreneurship. Although it exists, it's not regulated. So we have to find the loopholes in the law in order to support social entrepreneurs. Achievements, what did we do well? Again, joint active participation at the highest level policy forum. I'll name just a few: Vietnam Development Forum, Business Forum, socioeconomic development plans, socioeconomic development strategies. We sit at all these forums side by side, and Vietnamese government listen to us and acknowledge our inputs and often incorporates that into their strategies. We work together on issues that matter most for Vietnamese people as well as for Vietnamese government. There are just a few examples of collaboration between NGOs and private sector in Vietnam. Coca-Cola brought together several NGOs, one governmental agencies, and few other development partners into a very innovative project that combines green energy, access to drinking water, women empowerment, education, and social activities. There are individual entrepreneurs who are very creative in Vietnam. One company is called Dunkin' Donuts. They started with Dunkin' Donuts, but they evolved very quickly in a whole line of other products. They started catering, introduced fashion, and finally started with green farming that they combined with their previous business. KPMG also partnered with us. They try to apply their global skills, resources for various sustainable solutions, including climate change, food and water security, economic growth, and so on. There are many other examples from Oxfam, from SNV, from other businesses who are trying hard to combine NGO skills and business resources together. Possibilities for future partnerships. Madam Mei Hua-wang, Vice Minister, said yesterday, Taiwan is a very small but very powerful country. And I looked up and realized that actually Taiwan is 9 times smaller than Vietnam. It has 4 times less people who live here, but it is 10 times bigger in terms of wealth. Nominal GDP per capita is 10 times bigger than nominal GDP in Vietnam. So why are we talking about partnership? How can we talk about partnership? Who would benefit from whom? I think it should go both ways. There are things in which Vietnam excels, and there are things that Taiwan can teach Vietnam. There is already a fair number of Taiwanese NGOs in Vietnam. One of the shining stars is Yushan Foundation, present here. They've spent in Vietnam almost more than 20 years. I will pull up the slide. You can read some about their successes, but I just want to say that they are well respected by our NGO peers and well known in the community where they work. However, there are also other Taiwanese foundations, Aid and Social Welfare, Taiwan Fund for Children and Family, Nordhoff Foundation, Taiwan Institute for Information Industries, and you will hear one more presentation from our colleague next to me later about Taiwan. In all my years with NGOs, I've learned about differences between countries, between their culture, languages, ethnicities, religion, and customs. We can be very different. I also learned one truth beneath all that there is only one thing which makes us all the same, our humanity. Our humanity is universal, and I would like to paraphrase 2 distinguished guests from yesterday, His Excellency Teofisto Guingona from the Philippines and Dr. Ching-Ray Chang from Taiwan, that trust and true friendship of people, these are the things that that we can do anything with, that make everything possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Marco. Can you tell us what the VUFO stand for? Nothing to do with UFO, right?
Vietnamese Union of Friendship Organizations.
Oh, okay. So that is nothing to do with the UFO. Okay, good. I was wondering. Okay, great. And also Zishan Foundation. We have someone from Zishan Foundation, right? Yeah, good. Wonderful. And so you have been working together with the VUFO.
NGO Center.
NGO Center. That's easier to know. Good. And I understand this organization has 16 missions and tasks. What will be the priority?
We bring together over 110 member organizations. They work in 85 different sectors and subsectors. So we do anything from delivering food parcels and vaccination to building houses, hospitals, providing trainings for surgeons, through genetically modified mosquitoes, yes, preventing malaria and so on.
What do you need? What do you expect Taiwan to do the most? What do you think? What can Taiwan do?
Well, you could help us with issues related to climate change, child rights,
maybe
disaster management.
Work together. Great, thank you. Okay, let's next to turn to Dr. Uk from Myanmar. Good. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to take opportunity to say thank you for the President of Prospect Foundation, and then thank you for Eden Social Welfare Foundation. Because of this partnership, I have this great opportunity to be here and present about our experiences as NGO in Myanmar. It is a great honor for me to be present here. I would like to briefly introduce about our organization, small organization. Eden Center for Disabled Children was established in 2000 with me and one of my colleagues. Let me briefly explain about the situation of Myanmar during that time, because Myanmar is very unique among these Asian countries. During that time, the Myanmar government is under military government. As a charity organization, we cannot have any registration, any acknowledgement for our existence, any support. During that time in our country, there was no official definition of disability, no official data and facts on disability. So we are struggling from the beginning. And then our target group is children with physical and intellectual disabled children under 18 to provide physical rehabilitation, special education, and social care services. And then when we established in Eden in 2000, we tried to apply for registration, but only acknowledged by the Department of Social Welfare after 5 years, and 20th May in 2005. After acknowledgement by the Department of Social Welfare, it is a government ministry, focal point ministry for disability issue. They have provided some kind of snack for children, those who come to the center. And then 2000 to 2010, it is under military government, but after 2010, the government was elected government, and then only after that, first elected government is come up, the first CSO law, disability right law, national education law, all that kind of law was approved by the parliament in around 2014 and 15 only. Only after that we can apply officially for our registration as NGO, and Eden was granted as NGO registration in June 5th June 2015 only, after 15 years of establishment of the organization. Our main services, we have developed our program. The first thing is to provide child development program, community development program, and disabled sector development program, and then Eden continuous development program. Eden is the first organization in the country when we established for its kind, for what I mean for physical and intellectual disabled children. Eden is the first private organization in Myanmar. How Eden was conceived is very wonderful. Wonderful means very surprising. Actually, I have a chance to work in Penang. During that time, one of the staff from Eden Social Welfare Foundation, I have a chance to meet with him, and then he encouraged me to go back and do something for the children with disability. It is the first time I have heard about Eden Social Welfare Foundation from Taiwan. He said that it is a pioneer and very successful organization in disability field in Taiwan, but I just heard about that. And then only after nearly more than 15 years, we have a chance to work together with Eden Social Welfare Foundation. Actually, Eden Social Welfare Foundation worked in Myanmar with other CSO before when we met with Eden Center. But now we have a chance to work together with more than 3 years already. And then during the 3 years, we have a chance to attend some kind of workshop and seminar in Taiwan, Taipei, more than three times already. It is the conference and workshop we have a chance to attend in Taipei. So as Aiden is sorry that I've missed some slide. Within these 17 years, Eden Center for Disabled Children, it was a chance to work together with an international NGO. We have signed an MOU agreement to work together in disability field. During these 17 years, we have a chance to have partnership with more than 10 INGO. And then Eden Social Welfare Foundation is one of our partner among the 10 INGO. So when we look back our collaboration achievement with the partnership with INGO, as a local small organization, we cannot grow by our own, where our growth and success is only through partnership. We learn from each other, we share from our experience each other. As a very close-up country from Myanmar, to explore abroad, it's very rare for us. So in this case, Eden Social Welfare Foundation invite quite a number of times to come and attend seminar and workshop here. This really opened our eye and give us a chance to explore our boundary outside Myanmar. Even though we have worked with other partner organizations, it is just a project-oriented. They just funded for project activity. But in the Social Welfare Foundation, Taiwan is a bit different. Not only fund for the activity, but also give us a chance to participate, explore, and share our experience. This is the uniqueness of Taiwan NGO partnership with us. It is very unique for our organization. And then at the moment, Eden Center is we have taken care for more than 180 children with disability. In our center, we have 29 paid staff. With the project, we have altogether 51 staff at the moment. We are running daycare center in Yangon, and then other projects around Skying Division, and then Chinstrik near the border of India. We have implemented community-based rehabilitation project, and then inclusive education project, and other disability-related projects. Eden has a chance to start with service provision center, but since 2006, we have a chance to work with INGO and provide some kind of training, disability-related training, promote awareness, and then since after 2014, we have a chance to advocate for legislation, disability-related legislation and policy. And then all this growth is through partnership. We have a chance to share resources, information from Taiwan, and then our partner. Through that partnership, we have involved actively to promote the dignity and the quality of life in our own country. This is true because of this partnership. Today, it is. I have a chance to. I'm really happy that I have a chance to speak on behalf of disabled person with disability. For future, I think this person with disability is a part of every society. And then I have a chance to say on behalf of person with disability, without real inclusiveness of these vulnerable people, the sustainable goal, development goal cannot be achieved. So in this, our Southeast Asia country, our new shock-bound policy of Taiwan. I think in future, this the most vulnerable person with disability may be considered all the time as one of the major components for sustainable development. Thank you so much for sharing this.
Thank you, Dr. Oak. As I know that in the PowerPoint, Dr. Oak mentioned about the partners from Taiwan is the Eden Social Welfare Foundation. Anybody here? Good, thank you, good job. And also, I understand the Zhanghua Christian Hospital, Nina also work with your center, right? Good. And also for your information, for the media as well. Actually, the Eden Center in Rangoon, Myanmar is going to sign an MOU with Eden Foundation, right? Day of tomorrow. Tomorrow. That's good. So strengthen the partnership. Excellent. Okay, now the last but not the least, let me invite Mr. Xian Wenju. Just for your information, I just know this before just the coffee break. Mr. Xian is just awarded by the Vietnamese government for the highest government award for individuals for public service. In Mandarin Chinese, it's called 劳动奖. I don't know how to translate in English. Workers Award. It's not Workers Award. Working Award or Labor Award. But I think it's because of party terms. It's a Labor Party. It's a Workers' Party. So that means to symbolize the highest governmental party award. So I don't know what's the best word, but also high governmental award for Mr. Xian for his excellent service to the people and society of the Vietnam. And he is a Taiwanese citizen. Give him an applause. So, 冼先生，你开始吧，有10分钟。
OK， 感谢主办单位邀请我回到台湾，参加玉山论坛，共享在越南的台商企业也可以做慈善工作的经验。我是一个在越南投资事业30年的台湾商人。我会在越南做慈善的工作由来，是因为越南越战时期遭受戴安夫星的一个毒剂，造成很多不幸的纯俄类儿童，所以越南的总书记，等于是共产党总书记阮文林的夫人委任我回到台湾，来邀请台湾罗威夫基金会到越南进行义诊的免费手术。这是在1998年，已经是19年的事情了。一直到今天，罗威夫基金会与长庚医院整形外科医疗团队每一年都会回到越南，帮助纯俄罗的儿童进行义诊手术。也让每一位越南母亲带着小孩子回到家乡的时候，含着眼泪的笑容，告诉大家，台湾的医生创造他的小孩可以快乐的去上学了。这是一项很好的慈善外交。我也很荣幸的担任罗威夫基金会在越南的海外义工，一直到今天。罗威夫基金会在越南义诊已经有350位纯俄类的儿童，同时也协助越南的外科医师来到台湾培训整形手术。回到越南之后，都可以为儿童整形手术，每一年有将近200位儿童。因为罗威夫基金会长期在越南医疗慈善的成果，受到当地的媒体报道，发挥了越南看到台湾的爱心。因此，我们在2005年 向越南政府申请永援基金会，秉持着取之社会、用于社会的理想，服务越南医疗、慈善、教育与扶贫贡献的项目。我们在越南的成果，从1998年邀请罗威夫到越南义诊开始，推动罗威夫基金会跟长庚医院赠送使用中的医疗设备，以4680张的病床分配给越南61家的医院。同时，响应越南政府安居乐业计划，我们这几年来已经赠送越南从北到南的穷苦家庭2053栋的温情屋，并且我们呢以台湾的国立屏东大学、海洋大学、澎湖科技大学，以越南的肯德大学、顺化农林大学、隆安经济大学以及平阳省的土农牧大学的学生来到台湾读硕士班，提供奖学金。我们响应新南向政策，其中对于 NGO 在越南交流合作提出了一些我们的意见。我认为是应该由我们政府整合一个专责机构，辅导与援助台湾的慈善单位，能够依照越南政府规定申请合法的 NGO 活动执照，这样子才不会造成一些越南的官僚人为的一些困扰。第二个，因为越南是共产国家，对于慈善单位管制很严，所以 NGO 这个资格对我们台湾任何一个慈善机构是很重要的一个进门的钥匙。目前我们长期在越南捐献慈善费用是没有办法抵消的税金的，也不能募款，造成一般想要做慈善的人变成有心无力、无心无力，感到很可惜。我也发现很多企业想要做企业，却找不到理想又可以信赖的 NGO 合作对象，所以希望我们的政府应该整合平台，凝聚力量，让台湾人的仁爱在海外创造善的环境、善的循环。这是一项好心有好报，也是很好的企业形象以及社会责任。如果政府能够整合企业与 NGO 合作，这个力量一定会变成更大，并且也让越南看到台湾的爱心。我最后的感言：台湾虽然土地很小，但是台湾人民有勤劳朴实的精神，在海外发挥事业。台湾目前因为种种的原因，面临一些外交上的困难，但是我们台湾2300万人民选出贤能的政府，带领大家拓展新南向政策，带领大家新南向政策和具有自由、平等、博爱理念的合作伙伴，互相携手文化、经济发展交流合作，一起创造和平世界。感恩大家，祝福大家，谢谢。
谢谢 Thank you very much, Mr. Hsien. I think that Mr. Hsien's experience in Vietnam tell us several things. One is there is no shortage of problems, even you are doing good thing in a country where to the non-profit NGO may not be so friendly because party leads everything. So therefore, we have to take this into account when we come to a different political setting. Taiwan's effort, regardless how good intentionally, should be careful and should be cultivated in a way. And he also suggested that the philanthropic activity is the way out I think that's a very good suggestion. And also he suggested that I think the government here and also for the Yushan Luntan in the future can consider is the NGO Center or NGO platform for NSP. So the NGO Center for New Southbound Policy. Maybe some kind of a platform, some kind of NGO, we can work together so that we can collect effort together and we can collect all the achievement together so to be presented. So maybe next year in Yushan Luntan, we can present in a more organized way, in a more organic way, and what we have achieved, what we try to achieve, and so on and so forth. Okay, I think I did a good job as a chairperson. Huh? So I will not let you hungry for too long. But according to the calendar, law is rule. We will rule of law. So we will finish by 12:20. We still have 20 minutes to go. But we don't have to go completely 12:20. So anytime when we feel good about it, and we stop, you know. So this is good, the climate, and we stop, rather than going down. Okay, so for these 8 presentations, tell us there are 3 kinds of NGO activities. One, advocacy. Advocacy NGO work. For example, for minority right, for women's equity right, for sustainable development, among other, ecology and so on. That advocacy. Second is a service or philanthropic. This is predominantly presented here for education, poverty reduction, for children, for poverty, and so on and so forth. Philanthropic service. And the third one is community. We also talk about the community NGOs. And so all of them, Taiwan, in the past 20-some years, since 1990s, or I think 1990, Taiwan's NGO outreached to the national border. 1980s, Taiwan's NGO began to emerge to be one of the viable actor in Taiwan's social political development. And then 1990s and 1995 to 2000, I think Taiwan outreached. If you look at the Taiwan Aid experience, I think the year 2000 probably can mark the beginning of the Taiwan NGO globalization. So I think this is very important. So the floor is open. So you have anything, even include the panelists, you want to ask each other to offer more suggestion, you are more than welcome to do so. And from the floor, you can ask questions, what we can do more. Now, floor is open. Yes, Minister.
Thank you to all the panelists and, of course, excellent chair. Just one small question. I'm Kasit from Thailand. And not to the panelists, not all of them, but to the Taiwanese panelists and to the Taiwanese NGO sitting on the floor. Would all of you mind that you accept the notion or the principle that you will become a vehicle or an arm of the foreign policy direction of the Taiwanese government? Part of the mechanism to push the new southbound policy and the good names and the successful story of Taiwan abroad. Will you willing to become the vehicle of the government external policy, or just a hand-off relationship and you go your own way as NGO, or would you like to be integrated into the foreign policy movement of Taiwan? Thank you.
Yeah, this is a very difficult answer question. Whatever. I think that the Taiwan NGOs, when we do our work overseas, as we mentioned, the people center is quite important. And when we think of the people center, that means not only the political issue that we consider, of course, that people and human rights also our consideration. And of course that when we conduct our project, we, because we also would like all the projects, not all, if not all, the part of project can work with the government, and we would like to extend the government policy, no matter the policy that are focusing on our diplomatic Thai countries. Of course, that's it. I think the government, for example, the MOFA, they put most resources in our formal diplomatic the countries, but you can see most of the diplomatic countries are not in the new southbound regions, right? So that's why the NGOs, of course, we can do those of the project in those of the countries, but most of the NGOs, our project in the new southbound countries. And in list of parts, the governments, of course, they have their policy. The policy not only in political, but the policy may be in the economic growth, in the trade, and the other dimensions. And this part, NGOs can work together, such like we can work with the businessman. The businessman is in Taiwan business, but they have to work in all those of countries. This is also one of the policy that from the government. So I think that from the NGOs' view, political is another issue. Economic is another issue, but human right, human center is another. And we try to harmonize those of the three issues. Then, if NGO, we can try our best. We would like to mobilize and we can harmonize those of the consideration to work together.
I think it's a very good approach. Anyone from NGO Taiwan can answer that? This is very important. Whatever we do, we will be labeled, but we don't want a bad label. We want a good label. Right? The good label is my view, my personal view. NGO Taiwan will have its own version of a new southbound policy. We can propose our platform. This is our NGO's new southbound policy. If government is willing to do exactly what we do, welcome aboard. But we will not follow the government's new southbound policy without any question. I think this is probably one, but we have worked, I think the NGO should work out, right? I think welcome government to on board. Give us money, and we'll do the good job. Okay, anyone else? Any hard questions, please? Oh, yes, yes.
Can I give my different perspective to this question? For private sector, I would like to talk about the private sector and NGOs policy. For example, like Taiwanese businessman. Taiwanese business now is a very important foreign direct investment in Asia or Asian. For developing the partnership with a local NGO, I mean, not NGO here in Taiwan, but NGO in the country, we do have investment and operation. It's a very important strategic policy because now more and more Taiwanese big company has already become multinational company. So their shareholder, a lot of big company, 40%, 50%, even 60% of their shareholders is a foreign investor. So when we do the business is the business. We need to build the trust in local countries, so we do have operation. So it's very important to build up the local NGOs and private sectors partnership in all of the Asian countries. Taiwanese business has operation all for rare because the major purpose is we want to achieve the license to operate. So whether we consider that can be integrated into the diplomatic policy by Taiwanese government, I don't think that is necessary, but if we can build up that kind of synergy, that would be a very good collaborative aggregation force for helping some other Asian country. A lot of Taiwanese businesses, we do have operation and investment over there to maintain or support the local society or community development. So that is something like the synergies and strategic alliance can make the final consequence much more attractive to everybody. So from this point of view, I think, yes, the answer might be possibly. But no matter what kind of situation, it's something like by building an NGO and private sector partnership for helping the local society become a better society. It's something like no regret policy for Taiwanese businesses. So that is from my perspective. Thank you.
Nice way to put it. Well, I think another term, as you are aware, Minister, is the public diplomacy. Now, I think NGO, whatever NGO do, and which is developing a partnership with the government, that is called public diplomacy. And this is very different from the conventional orthodox diplomacy. So public diplomacy is a good word. Conventional diplomacy may not be. So that was a way out. So I think that nowadays in diplomatic literature, we talk about public diplomacy. I think maybe that's the way what we can do. And Niven did a good job on that. And also now another concept recently I come across called PPP, private-public partnership. If that partnership is equal, that has to be based on the equal partnership. That means we have an equal input. One of the partner will dictate. I think probably that's one. Good caution, good warning, and we have the good learning. Please.
Thank you very much. All of the presentations really very good. And for me, this is a soft diplomacy of Taiwan. It's really, really great. Secondly is small questions. If I'm not wrong, sometimes I saw in some area or location that we find disaster, many kind of disaster. There are many NGOs there. And in many time also, I found that many conflicting among NGOs. My question is, have you any experience the situation like that? If you have, how to avoid or to solve the problems? Because in many places in my country, I found that situations and some NGOs, not only local or national NGOs, but also international NGOs, sometimes, I don't know, take benefits for the funding. So how to avoid or to solve that problem? Thank you.
Sorry, I don't know whether I can respond to your question, but as Nepal, we experienced a big disaster, and that's what we also experienced. As I told you, we have many, many NGOs working there, over 400 international and many civil society organizations as well. In 2015, after the massive earthquake, that's what we experienced. Government was in one side and the organization were another side. Everybody is like blaming sort of another party, another sort of worker, and there was not good coordination. But from that big, massive earthquake, what we learned was the coordination, at least there should be a coordination body. Especially it could be from government, UN, and also NGO sector. We have, let's say, NGO Federation. What we do is, NGO Federation is the alliance body for NGOs. We make charter, organization charter. That somehow has helped us to contribute. So we select in every region the lead organization, And the other partner, other organization can work only through these lead organization. That somehow has mitigated or solved the issue that you raised. But if there is conflict in the country, it's not that easy. It's again the government policy, how government views NGOs. Like one of our panelists, I think, was presenting the situation in Vietnam. In Nepal, it's NGO-friendly area, but still we are not, there are conflicts through the government, how NGO is working. And all international organizations have their own motive. Somebody was here asking the diplomacy, and they have their own diplomacy to do aid work. And that also creates a lot of confusion. Somebody was asking, do you do local ideas? Do you implement local ideas or international? If we believe, like somebody from outside trying to implement something in local, maybe this is not, we are respecting local knowledge. That's how I feel personally. And that's what we have been, practicing in Nepal. Thank you.
Vietnam is one of the top 5 most vulnerable countries in the world prone to climate change and natural disasters. All typhoons that hit Philippines that we hear about on the news proceed and come to central Vietnam or northern Vietnam. So there are droughts, floods, and big storms every year. I mentioned the Corporate Engagement Working Group, which is very new and is only 3 years in action, but we have a Disaster Management Working Group facilitated by the NGO Center, but established by NGOs themselves. Although it's established by NGOs, it brings together UN agencies, governmental agencies, and Vietnamese NGOs. So more than half of these NGOs have been in country for more than 20 years. And they're certainly not looking for benefit from emergency funding or extra support that usually happens when emergency or disaster takes place. On the contrary, they are so well organized that they can respond jointly in a matter of hours. They'll meet, send joint teams to the field, get first-hand information, and channel any extra funding, any new funding to the most appropriate places that need the help the most. And it's all very transparent and collaborative, so there is no room for either misuse or wrong channeling of the money. Government has its role, NGOs have their role, and local partners play their role. So I'm personally very proud of that group. That's one of the most successful groups we have.
Thank you. I think we have one hand over there, yes. Or the last one will be you.
My name is Edwin Yang. I teach in the National Taiwan Normal University, NTNU. I have a question to foreign panelists about set up office or representative personnel in Taiwan. My own experience is that each time we want to encourage all these NGO activities for our students, for our youth, and we find that it's costs a lot for them to understand the situation, get the information, and now we have a good policy to encourage internship, summer activity, all kind of NGO volunteer job. But I think that it would be nice if international NGO can try the effort to build up the longer linkage connection to Taiwan. I think that would be helpful for next step. Thank you.
so far, I understand government is trying here, is trying to bring relevant, good INGO into Taiwan to set a regional office. I think the Freedom House is going to be, I think already open already. And, right? Already. And the other thing they were thinking others, you know, so they are under negotiation. I think it will be good. Yes, I think there will be good steps. Okay, we have one more over there.
My name is Jory Wu. I am a board director of Zhishan Foundation and also the CEO of CPM Foundation. I have three, I don't have questions, but I have three acknowledgements and one advocacy. The first acknowledgement goes to Dr. Hsiao. I really appreciate your charisma and art of hosting, making this, and all the panelists, making this panel very, very educational and very, very enjoyable. The second one goes with, yes, I echo that the NGO is really the soft power of our government, and it's the people's people diplomacy. Therefore, MOFA and our government really should perhaps give more support to Taiwan Aid and INGO. And I totally agree with Mr. Hideki mentioning about the business sectors are emphasizing SDG as their business development focus. I think that is an anchor that in our government, we don't, not only the NGO is focusing on that, but the business is taking that lead. And that will really make a global movement. And I appreciate your point of view. My advocacy goes to, I understand that our government has an office called Sustainable Development Office, 永续发展室，在行政院下。Okay. Now, they're putting all the efforts looking into how to do the implementation in Taiwan. But as I can see, perhaps we can, through Dr. Hsiao's influence and Dr. Huang's influence, encourage our government also taking this SDG project overseas, so that making our Taiwan's influence overseas more visible. And the best way is to support INGO and then the Taiwan Aid's effort overseas. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think your acknowledgement goes to everybody here. Thank you very much. Okay, any other? Oh, it's 12:20. Okay, Bo, you are the last one. You had the privilege to say the final words. Don't too long. Don't be too long.
I won't be too long. Thank you, Professor Hsiao. I'm Bo Teddards from the Taiwan Foundation for Democracy. Actually, that was the concluding remarks there, so I shouldn't speak now. But one thing I think we should focus in the future, it's an advocacy maybe for the Yushan Forum, because the civil society, the third sector is so important, and we're taking so much emphasis on it correctly. We need to also not forget that the situation, some of the panelists mentioned in their countries, but actually it's a global trend of increasing restrictions and obstacles by governments against NGOs. That is a global trend. And I think we need to recognize that, and then recognize that that's happening in many of our countries. And maybe we can have future panels or discussions how we can work together to break through those kind of barriers and restrictions locally in NGOs, and also about barriers to international corporations to NGOs. So the very freedom of human rights for NGO activity, for civil society activity, the space. Yeah, thank you.
Well,
can I make maybe some?
Oh, yes.
Sorry.
Can you be short?
Very short. Sorry, okay. In NGO field, we say, if you do not ask, you never get it. As I represent Nepal, we have been suffering after the earthquake, and we are building infrastructure just to make an appeal for all the NGO workers or Taiwanese NGO and maybe government. In the area we have been working, there is no hospital and there is not good schools, so people have been migrating. There are no sort of less and less people. So thanks to the Taiwan Aid for funding the Community Learning Center, which is this dream is coming true. There are two more things in 5 years' time we want to achieve is one community hospital, a good one, and one school. If anyone wants to partner with us, we are open to work with you. Anyone, thank you so much.
You have to say? Do you have? No? Okay. Do you have anything to say? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Very short. I would like to come back to this lady's question. You know, for building the partnership between NGO and private sector, there is one very vital element right now across the government, business, and NGO. We all need this very vital part. It's transparency. You know, based on the transparency, we can build up the trust, especially for a lot of disaster situation. We got a lot of funding, we got a lot of material, we got a lot of human power, and then if the NGO can also follow the disciplines of transparency to announce, to provide the assurance for the financial report and all of the donation material and any resource input to the NGO, I think that will also build up the credibility. Thank you.
Transparency. Okay, I have just to take analogy of chocolate as the conclusion remark. For those people who like chocolate, M&M is a popular one, right? Children, adults all like it. I'm not very particular from chocolate, but M&M, I think our title of this session is called Enhancing NGO Private Sector Partnership in International Development. I think all the panelists have shown the chocolate, M&M. That means NGO has a mission, and then private sector have money. So this M and N work together under the name of a people-centered, transparent way mechanism, and we can reach a better public diplomacy for Taiwan and from Taiwan. Thank you very much.